Hey everybody, it's Jason. Welcome to episode 36 of the Talleymarks Faith and Leadership Podcast. Today we're going to be talking about something that is so good for you to do, but if you're not careful, you can really hurt yourself doing it. First off, let me say things have changed a bit. The Leadership Podcast took a pretty long hiatus. I thought it wise because I was personally going through some transition and I wanted to make sure that I was really at my best if I was producing content. During that break though, I decided to start a YouTube channel. So going forward, the YouTube channel and the podcast are becoming one entity. However you're getting this content right now, whether you're watching it or you're listening to it, you will be able to either get it in video form on YouTube or audio from all major podcast platforms. Now that that's covered, let's go into today's leadership talk. If you've been in leadership any amount of time, you've probably heard the phrase, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. This was first stated by Theodore Roosevelt, and if you've ever read any John Maxwell book, he quotes it regularly. And truly, it is a fact. Knowledge is irrelevant if there isn't a lot of care behind it. When it comes to leading people, if it appears that you don't care, then they really could care less about how much you know. So here's the question that I'm posing today. Is it possible to care too much? I was having a conversation with a friend earlier about this actually, and they threw this question at me, and ever since then, I've been thinking about how true I believe it actually is. Tell me what you think in the comments below. Do you think that you can actually care too much? Let's talk about this for a second. Human beings should care for one another. This is a fact. Even more so as leaders. Caring for those around us should be second nature. From spending time with someone to anticipating and meeting their needs, sharing our time, our talent, and our treasure. Care can be shown in a lot of different ways. There are two times, however, when caring can actually be a bad thing. First is when it's at the detriment of the person that you are trying to care for. Some would call this even enabling. For example, if you are in a good position financially and someone you know isn't, it might be easy for you to pay for things and to quote unquote help them. But in the end, you're not doing them any favors. It's the whole example that it would be better to teach someone to fish than to buy fish for them for a day. The better help in this situation would be to help that person understand finances and how to better manage their own money that they do have, instead of just using your resources to give to them all of the time. Now, this doesn't mean that you shouldn't do nice things for those around you. If God has given you the means to do so, then by all means, do it. Be nice, help people. But being a good steward is not just about money. Sometimes we associate this just with money. It's about our time and our talent also. We've got to look at all of our resources equally and try our best to use them as catalysts to not only move us forward in life, but those around us as well. Which sometimes means that spending time with someone explaining finances, spending that resource, is better than actually using your finances to help them. We have to use all the tools that are in our pocket. The second way that caring too much is hurtful is to yourself. Here's the deal, and hear me clearly. I've had to tell this to myself a lot. People are going to do what they want to do, and there's zero that you can do about that at the end of the day. Now, I know what you're thinking because I've thought the same thing, that if you influence them somehow, through teaching, through helping them understand where they are wrong in your eyes, that you can in fact change their mind. And you're right, 100%. That's how influence works. But here's what I'm wanting to get across. If after doing everything in your power to influence this person to move in what might be a better direction, and they still don't, you've got to chill. It doesn't mean that you care any less. It just means that you have to start caring in a different way. Now, you may not be a follower of Jesus, but I genuinely believe that if we've done all that we know to do in a situation and nothing seems to be working, you've just got to give it to Him. Plain and simple. Pray for that person. Be available to them if they are in need. But you've got to trust that God has them. Period. Now, here's another thing. You can actually worry, fret, freak out, stalk, gossip, question, and get a freaking hernia over a person and what they are doing or not doing that you think they should be doing or not doing. All under the guise that you care for them. Don't fall for this. You'll kill yourself, honestly, and more than likely the relationship in the process. Here's the bottom line. There is a strong difference between being available and being taken advantage of. They feel similar because in both cases someone needs something, and in both cases you are supplying that need. But the major difference is boundaries. The only way that you can be a help to those around you and care for them deeply without hurting them and potentially yourself in the process is by having healthy boundaries. There are 2 books that I would recommend to help with this whole idea. The first book is literally called Boundaries. It's by Dr. Henry Cloud and Dr. John Townsend. When to say yes, when to say no, and to take control of your life. The second book is so great. It's called When Helping Hurts. This is by Steve Corbett and Brian, I believe it's pronounced Fickert, Fikkert. How to Alleviate Poverty Without Hurting the Poor. And this can be actually tied into really any way that you care or help people. It doesn't have to just be about poverty and helping the poor. Here's the thing. If you are not caring for people, then I hate to break it to you, you're not leading them. If you are caring for folks, I'm just challenging you to consider how deep that care is and what the real motivation behind it is. Are you doing what's really best for them and for you? Be honest with yourself here. And in the long run, you'll be really glad that you did. Hey, thanks so much for tuning in today. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the follow button if you're watching this. If you are on Spotify or iTunes, Apple Podcasts, be sure to give it a 5-star rating and leave some comments. And as always, there are way too many people out here telling folks about Jesus and not enough showing what He was like. Let's do more of that today. We'll see you next time.